What's up? How you doing? This is my partner Amanda. We're gonna do a little prep work here tomorrow. We're gonna have some iced coffee. We're gonna use Stone Street Coffee Company. So basically, what we need is a little jug over here, a filter. We have this. What is that? You know what that is?
A scale, and we have to have 120 grams of coffee.
That's good.
Let's fill up the whole cup.
Right. So we're gonna manually mix this because we come from the old days. I might have to do this a couple of times because the cylinder is small. So we'll see how much it takes the first time.
It's really strong to me.
Takes less than half. So we're gonna speed this up so we don't have to be here 5 hours. So we got around 120 grams of coffee in here, and we're gonna pour it in this this filter. How's that smell?
It smells strong.
So we fill this up with fresh, clean, filtered water. Get rid of all the arsenic and lead, things like that. And then we put the filter in here and let it sit overnight, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever. And then in the morning when it's nice and cold, we will get a glass, fill it up with ice, put this inside, a little bit of sugar. You have to melt the sugar in warm water, otherwise it'll be like crystallized meth. So anyway, that's it. We'll have some fresh iced coffee tomorrow. What's up? How you doing? Fall is in the air. It's starting to get a little bit cooler out here. Got my iced coffee. Delicious. Very good coffee. I just found out that they're rebooting Kung Fu, the television series from the 1970s with David Carradine. I was a big fan of that show. Master Paul, Master Khan. But it's going to be a female in the role of Kwai Chang Caine, or whatever name they're going to use this time around. And it's going to be in present day USA, I guess. So it's not going to be a Western, it's going to be today, now, coming out 2021. So very excited about that. I used to love that show. Not the other one that came out, the Kung Foolish one in the 90s. Didn't like that one, but the original one. Always wanted to visit that temple. Hang out with Master Po, Master Khan. My mother had a relative who lived in a predominantly Chinese neighborhood back in the 70s. And we would visit there, and occasionally there would be a door open in the hallway of one of these apartments. And inside it was kind of decorated like the Shaolin Temple, had candles going, things hanging off the side there, Lucky Charms. At one time I had a cold, had a bad cold, and this relative said to my mother, there's a lady downstairs, she's Chinese, and she has some medicine for the common cold. When you guys leave, we'll pass by her door and I'll knock and I'll ask her for something. And I was very excited. A cure for the common cold. So we went down there and knocked on the door. Nobody answered at first, and then about a minute later the door opened up. Short lady who spoke no English opened up the door, and my mother's relative explained to her what she was looking for. I have no idea how she explained it, but she understood. She went 1 minute, and she had cool music coming from that apartment. Sounded like stuff that you would hear on Kung Fu television series. So she disappeared for a couple of minutes and came back with a little glass bottle that had a clear fluid inside. And she gave it to us, and I didn't see any of this happening, but apparently during that period of time we're staying at the door, she explained to my mother's relative what to do with this medication. And she said to her to get a bottle of Vicks, mix it in the Vicks, and then apply it to my back and my chest, and the next day I would feel fine. So we went and bought a bottle of Vicks. Went home, my mother mixed it. I don't know if she put too much in there, but anyway, she applied it to me. I went to bed, and whatever that stuff was, I know what it is now, but back then I had no idea, but whatever it was, it intensified the menthol in the Vicks. And you know, put menthol on your body and step out into the cold and you feel even colder. So I go to bed, and somewhere around 2 a.m. I wake up and I am shivering, I'm freezing, because this thing intensified the menthol. So I got up and I went to the bathroom and tried to get it off of me, and put on another couple layers of shirts, went back to bed. I told mother the next day, don't ever put me that stuff again. Get rid of that. And probably 10 years had passed. I never put Vicks again on my body, but because I didn't trust that they threw that out. And I kept saying to my mother, you got a little Vicks in the bathroom cabinet. Is that the one from back then with that special stuff in there? She goes, oh no, I threw that out a long time ago. I don't believe that. I think that that's the exact same one. So never use Vicks again, just to be on the safe side. So many years went by after that, and I was in a Chinese, kind of like a grocery store, but it had a kind of like a pharmacy section, but not pharmacy section like Bayer or Pfizer or things like that. It was Chinese pharmacy, Chinese medicine. And they had little bottles there, and I go, I wonder if they have that stuff that was put on me in the Vicks. And so I started opening up the samples and smelling them. And after about 4 or 5 bottles, I smell one and I go, that's the one. And I finally figured out what it was. So I'm pretty sure the name of it was White Tiger. White Tiger. Clear fluid, you put it in there, mixed it up, but it makes you feel like you're an iceberg. So that was the last time I used that. And I was still sick the next day, so it did nothing. You know, it's a virus. You don't get sick from the cold air. You know, we're living in the year 2020, and apparently there are a lot of people out there that still believe you catch a cold from a drop in temperature. You can get hypothermia that way, or frostbite, but you're not going to catch a cold. A cold is caused by a rhinovirus, and there's over 220 rhinoviruses, maybe more. That's the way you catch a cold, person to person, not because you went out without a hat or you took a shower and stepped out. That's not going to do it. If the virus is not present, you could walk around naked. The only thing you're going to get is frostbite, hypothermia, but you're not going to get a cold. You know, people in the year 2020, they're still living in 2020 BCE. Good coffee. Like to go to Ethiopia one day, get some good coffee there and do some hiking. Beautiful mountains in Ethiopia. A few places I'd like to visit. Uninhabited islands. Love uninhabited islands. Not just the tropical ones, but all kind of places, including the cold ones. Like I know there's a lot of them down by Antarctica that I always zoom in on my Earth Google Earth, whatever. But there's another, you know, thing about surviving in those areas. There's nothing to eat, so, you know, maybe fish. But the tropical ones, you have a better success rate. You'll live a little bit longer. Had a plan one time. I looked up on these websites, tankers, these big ocean liners, big tankers, whatever. They have these routes they follow, and you could find these routes that are near uninhabited islands. So I had an idea that I would go down San Pedro and get on one of these tankers and these cargo ships, and I'd estimate how close I was to an uninhabited island using maybe a map, and then I would have an inflatable raft or something and throw it off the side, and then jump off the side myself, get in the raft, and then row, you know, probably within 2 miles or so, maybe, you know, maybe a little bit more, to an uninhabited island, and just kick back there for a couple of weeks, eating coconuts and things like that. You know, but coming back is the hard part. You got to time it just right. You don't want to be sitting out there like a Momo for a week or so waiting for a, you know, tanker, cargo ship to come by. But I had that plan, and then I was thinking, I was down San Pedro one time, and I said, that's a good jump. You know, off of those cargo ships, it's a good jump. You know, anyway, never happened. There's got to be an easier way to get onto an uninhabited island. I've seen a few up in Iceland. Beautiful, off the coast of Korea, South Korea, North Korea. Nice looking islands up there. I used to have a dream. I had a dream that it's pitch black out. There's no moon, just stars. And I'm on a little raft in the middle of the ocean, just drifting. And I'm looking at the sky, and there's like thousands of stars. One of those nights. And all of a sudden, I don't know, I fell asleep or something in the dream. I actually fell asleep. But anyway, I fell asleep in the dream. And I felt kind of like I crashed into something. And I opened up my eyes, and I hit the shoreline of an uninhabited island. And I look up, and it's tiny. It's, I don't know, maybe like 200 feet by 200 feet. Got the sand going around it, and it's a pointy, kind of like a rock. It's probably 500 feet coming out of the ocean, and I'm stuck at the bottom. But the tide is coming in, and every few minutes, you know, there's less and less shoreline, where I have to keep climbing and climbing and climbing, and finally I climb to the top, and the water comes all the way to the top, where there's maybe 5 feet of me sitting on the tip of this rock in the ocean, and I'm just sitting there waiting for the dream to finish. And one day I was looking, I think it's off the coast of Australia, and there's some structure in the middle of the ocean there that looks like the dream I'm having. So, but you're not going to last long on that thing, because you'd run out of food, and, you know, plus I had no food to begin with. Should always have a can of soup with you, just in case. Yeah, big fan of that uninhabited island thing. I've seen Castaway. Was it Robinson Crusoe? It was like a series in the 70s. That's why I really became interested in these islands. Swiss Robinson Crusoe, right? Something like that. I think John Boy was on there. From the Waltons, I think. It's a long time ago. And Gilligan's Island. You know, but be very interesting. You want to do that stuff when you're young, though. You get a little bit older, and you have a medical issue, you're screwed. That's it.